Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10:41-6. Ityuktva chodayamasha Syandanam Gandhini Sutta Mathuramanayadrama Krishnam Chaiva Dinatyaye. With these words, Akrura, the son of Gandhini, began driving the chariot onward. At the end of the day, he arrived in Mathura with Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna. Marge grama janarajam tatra tatropasangata vasudeva sutau vikshya prita drishtim nachadadu. Wherever they passed along the road, O king, the village people came forward and looked upon the two sons of Vasudeva with great pleasure. In fact, the villagers could not withdraw their eyes from them. Tavad vrajau kasastatra Madana-gopāla grata puro pavanamasadya pratikshanto vatasthire. Nanda Maharaj and the other residents of Vrindavan, having reached Mathura ahead of the chariot, had stopped at a garden on the outskirts of the city to wait for Krishna and Balaram. The purport: Nanda and the others reached Mathura first because the chariot carrying Krishna and Balaram was delayed by Akrura's bathing. Tan sametyaha Bhagavan Akruram Jagadishvara Grihitva Panina Panim Prasritam Prahasanniva. After joining Nanda and the others, the Supreme Lord Krishna, the controller of the universe, took humble Akrura's hand in his own hand and smilingly spoke as follows. Bhavan pravishatam agre sahayana purim graham vayam tvihavamuchyatha tato drakshamahe purim. Lord Krishna said, "Take the chariot and enter the city ahead of us, then go home. After resting here a while, we will go to see the city." Shri Akrura uvacha Naham bhavadbhyam rahita pravekshe mathuram prabho tyaktum narhasi mam natha bhaktam te bhaktavatsala. Shri Akrura said, "O Master, without the two of you, I shall not enter Mathura. I am your devotee, O Lord. So it is not fair for you to abandon me, since you are always affectionate to your devotees." Agachayamagehana sanathan kurvadokshaja sahagraja sagopalai suhritbishcha suhrittama. Come, let us go to my house with your elder brother, the cowherd men, and your companions. O best of friends, O transcendental Lord, in this way, please grace my house with its master. This is the last verse we'll cover today. Punihi padarajasa grihano grihamedhinam yachau chenanutripyanti pitara sagnaya sura. I am simply an ordinary householder attached to ritual sacrifices. So please purify my home with the dust of your lotus feet. By that act of purification, my forefathers, the sacrificial fires, and the demigods will all become satisfied. So translations end here. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, who has opened my darkened eyes and filled my heart with transcendental knowledge. I further offer my obeisances to all of you assembled Vaishnavas and seek your kind blessings that we may recite Srimad Bhagavatam in your presence. Thank you once again for inviting me. So I'd just like to say that we have one of those situations where we have Vijay Dashami, the celebration of the victory of Lord Ram, also known as Rama Vijay. In the US, it was yesterday. In Europe and India and other places, actually today. It's like one of those days that straddle two dates on the calendar. So in India, all over that country and all over Europe, they are celebrating the victory of Lord Ram. This notion of victory, we can discuss that today. But just want to go back to this wonderful point here. The verse just prior to this one, verse number 12. So now we see that Akrura has brought the Lord to the city of Mathura. We had yesterday the pastime of the bathing and so on. Previously, how the whole process of how Akrura went to Vrindavan to fetch the Lord and his manorath, his meditations on what he will do out of in excitement and anticipation for seeing the Lord, and then he picks him up, and then the whole painful departure from Vrindavan. And then now they've come to this point where now Akrura is inviting the Lord into his house. Now, although Akrura is older than Krishna, and he's an uncle in that sense, and he has every reason to command Krishna from that point of view. He's elder, he's a relative, he's in charge, he's in control in the sense he's the one who's bringing him. He's been ordered by Kamsa to do it. But look at Akrura's mood. He is a devotee of the Lord. So how does a devotee of the Lord talk to the Lord? He says, see, Lord Krishna said, okay, just leave us out here outside the city. You go ahead. We'll catch up. We'll go to inside the city ourselves, and we'll take care of ourselves at this point. And Akrura said, O Master, without the two of you, I shall not enter Mathura. I am your devotee, O Lord. So it is not fair for you to abandon me. See, Krishna is saying, okay, you go ahead. Krishna is asking Akrura to abandon Krishna. But whenever Krishna says that to any devotee, the devotee gets heartbroken. He says, don't abandon me. I'm your devotee, and you're always affectionate to your devotee. Just see me as your devotee. I am Bhaktam, right? You are Nathan, means master, my Lord. And I'm Bhakta, Bhaktam te, yours. And you are Bhakta Vatsala, one who has parental affection for your devotees. So he's saying, don't kick me out. So this is a nice mood for us to be meditating on as we try to develop our own devotional feelings. That, my Lord, please don't abandon me. Because if you abandon me, then I lose everything. And if you're with me, then the victory is certain. What is that victory? We'll talk a little bit about that. He says, come, let us go to my house. And not just by yourself. Bring Balaram, your elder brother. And not just you, the two of you. Bring all the cowherd men. and all your companions. That's another point to note. The Lord doesn't like to be left separate or separated from his entourage. He's always there with his big crowd. So we always worship the Lord with everybody else. And then he glorifies the Lord again. He says, Suhrid bhi, that means you're friends, but you're also Suhritam. You're also the friend of everyone, or best of friends. Not just Suhritam, Suhritama. Suhrit, like Uttama, means the greatest. Suhritama. In this way, please grace my house because you are the master. That's another angle for us to know that even though we are staying in this house, we may have our name on the title, but the master is the Lord, Lord Shri Krishna. It's a nice mood for us to also get inspiration to cultivate. And then he goes on to express his humility, even though he's one of the greatest devotees. He says, I'm just an ordinary householder and I'm grihamedhi. You've heard this word grihamedhi quite a bit. It's someone who's attached to the household aspects. And here he's saying household ritual sacrifices. This is another point to note. How Srila Prabhupada has translated grihamedhi to someone who's attached to the ritual sacrifices. Someone may think that, oh wow, he's doing so many ritual things according to Vedas. He's a great devotee. But here he is decrying the ritualistic mindset. What is there for us to take home from this point? That we may think that we are also practicing these externals of Vedic life, of even devotional service. But if our mindset is that of ritualistic approach, or even religion, like a religionist, where we just want to do it mechanically, superficially, and don't want to engage the heart in constant prayer, constant connection and communication with the Lord, as an actual conversation, as a one-on-one, as begging the Lord for his mercy, as glorifying the Lord, appreciating the Lord, constant feeling of all those emotions that are connecting with the personal presence of the Lord, then even our external religious / ritualistic / even devotionally appearing actions can be classified as ritualism, as empty, because we're not seeing the Lord as a person, you're not seeing his presence, you're not appreciating enough. So it's a slippery slope we go down. So it's something to watch out for. And Prabhupada translates grihamedhi as someone who's just attached to these sacrificial fires and all that. So he's saying that, my Lord, when you come into my home with your lotus feet, so when we invite the Lord into our hearts, in our homes, then everything gets purified. My forefathers, even the sacrificial fires, demigods, everybody becomes satisfied. Because we owe debts to all these people. We owe debts to the forefather. We owe debts to all the methodologies, sacrificial systems, and we owe debts to the demigods. But everybody, all those debts are paid when the Lord comes into our heart, into our home, into our lives. So on this Vijaya Dashami, this Vijaya means victory. So on this celebration, we're celebrating the Supreme Lord killing the 10-headed Ravan. And it is a victory of, it says good over evil. The 10 heads of Ravan, they represent different aspects of evil, lust, greed, envy. There's so many of them that out like that. And so the Lord killing Ravan, it actually happened. Ravan was an actual demon. This pastime actually took place. In all of existence, there are only two kinds or categories of activity. All of existence, material and spiritual. The two categories of activity are karma and lila. So karma is the activities that are connected to our material, selfish goals that have nothing to do with reconnecting with the Lord, with trying to bring the Lord into our lives, just doing any work aimed at selfish sense gratification, either ourselves directly or we extend it out to those who we think are ours, based again on the bodily materialistic conception of life. And then we want to engage in sense gratification for them and for ourselves. So that is all karma. And that karma has some reactions to it, which could be pleasant, could be unpleasant, depending on how one looks at it. The other category of activity is known as lila. Lila is translated as, well, we translate in English, but you know how translations go. You can't exactly capture it. So we have several words. We say the pastimes of the Lord. Pastimes is something that someone does for leisure. Sometimes it is known as the play of the divine. Because when you don't need to work and you have energy and time, what do? You engage in leisure. You engage in play. You engage in, pleasurable activities. So because the Lord does not really need to do anything. Krishna said in the Gita, I don't really need to do anything. But still I do stuff, I do things. Whatever the Lord does, he does it in that category of lila. It's the play of the divine. Now, if you remember this Akrura verse, when he says, my Lord, you come in, but you also bring your brother and bring all the residents who came with you of Vrindavan, bring them all into my home. There's a big crowd. So in this category of lila, is it only the Lord who is in that circle? No. Balaram is also part of the lila. Is it only Krishna and Balaram? No. Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, and every single resident of Vrindavan, they're also within the circle of lila. Everything they do is directly for the pleasure of the Lord, with the intention for the pleasure of the Lord. Not like, by luck or unintentionally. No, it's with the intention of the pleasure of the Lord. And they do things for the glory of the Lord, to serve him. That is also counted as lila. When Srila Prabhupada came to America, every single thing he did, his whole life practically, was for the pleasure of the Lord. His meditation constantly was, how can I glorify the Lord? How can I spread the message of Mahaprabhu? So everything Srila Prabhupada did was lila, because the Lord is front and center. The monkeys who fought in the battle against Ravana had entered into lila. They are monkeys. So anything that directly serves the Lord and his interest is called lila. Anything done for our own selfish ends is known as karma. Now, there are millions of monkeys in the army, but not all the monkeys in the forest took part. Some may have stayed away, just stayed home, or run away. So such is our choice in life too. Do I want to join this circle of lila? Do I want to join in this group of devotees serving in some way? Or do I want to run away from this opportunity? Do I want to doubt my ability? Or do I want to confidently serve in whatever way I can? We know the story of the squirrel who was throwing just a little sand when they build the bridge across.
Prabhu, we can't hear you. It's gone blank.
Yeah, I thought it was just me. Madana-gopāla Prabhu, we can't see you or hear you. Yeah, there he is. He's back.
Oh, did I lose it? Did
Yeah,
lose
we
the
lost you
connection?
for a few seconds. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay. Um, what does it mean for a devotee? What are we as practicing devotees aiming to be victorious about? How do we define it for ourselves? So it means overcoming fear. This is a root cause of so many problems. It creates so many insecurities in our life. So the Bhagavatam describes fear as bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshitasyat. When we misidentify with the material body because of absorption in the secondary identification, dvitiya bhiniveshita, it's external energy of the Lord, and we turn away from the Lord, then this bewildering, fearful condition is called Maya. So the fear is rooted in thinking I'm this body. So how does one overcome fear quickly? So Lord Ramchandra, he says this very famous verse that is quoted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Sakrideva prapanno yas tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai tadamyetat vritam mama is abhayam, fearlessness. Lord says, it is my vow that if one only once, Sakrideva, only once surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours and you are mine, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, this fearlessness, and he will always remain safe from that time on. So, of course, we have to understand the definition of this victory of overcoming fear, and this definition, what it means to be safe, because we know the body is going to be gone, right? It's given. So what does it mean to be safe? It means that the Lord takes charge, and in spite of our own conditioning, in spite of suffering the consequences of our many poor choices in the past, the Lord takes charge because we have made that first initial attempt. It says Sakrideva just once, even non-committally, but we say it with our full heart. My Lord, I am yours and you are mine. Then the Lord said, I give him freedom from all fear. That confidence that the Lord installs in us is guarded by the Lord himself. He says he'll remain safe from that time on. And he says, Dadam yedad vratam mama. Vrata means this is my vow. He said, I take that vow. So coming back to this, how does this work, right? So most of our fear is based on ignorance, avidya, which is founded on the idea that I am this temporary body with the temporary existence. I'm attached to temporary happiness, or at least relief from pain. I want to continue to exist by struggling one way or another, not understanding, always exist no matter what. So that's that foolishness, right? I don't really realize that. I want endless happiness, but I settle for temporary shadows of this happiness. We settle for it. Sometimes we think this is all there is. So now if we become firmly convinced of our eternal nature and we act on that understanding in a real way, that is called self-realization. It's reflected in the way we act. But this is not possible without the help of the Lord. Just like when I'm in a dark room and I step out of the room into the sunlight, then I can see the sun and I can see myself. I need the sun to see myself also. Similarly, I need the Lord to understand my own self and my relationship with him. I need his presence in my life. That needs to come first. So, okay, yes, we'll say, yes, I know all this. I know we need to surrender to the Lord and be part of the Lord's Leela. I know the Lord is very kind to his devotees. I know I'm supposed to move towards self-realization. My problem is not that. I know all these things. You may say, my issue is the way I observe devotees treating each other. How sometimes I too am treated by some devotees. And how some devotees who have been practicing for so many years still maintain such awful views, such awful attitudes and behaviors. I've been taught to never offend devotees, yet so many devotees continue to offend me and others. How is victory that you talk about, how is that possible in such a confusing and difficult situation where, a lot of the times everyone involved in this whole situation is a devotee? See, when things are black and white, it's, when it's clear who is a Pandava, who is a Kaurava, who is a demigod, who is a demon in a war, then yes, victory is clear. It's a sense, okay, there's Ravan over here and Ram is over here. It's very clear. But when everyone involved in my serious issues is a devotee, how do I process it? How do I view it? How do I surrender? On one hand, we're told to always see as our own fault, everything is my fault. But sometimes it's clear to us that we should not tolerate unjust, unfair, abusive behavior. So which is it? These are the real things that plague us. These are the things that can bewilder us, even on the path of devotional service. These are the things that keep us up at night. Maybe it's just me. Maybe all of you don't have these issues. It's very possible. So maybe I'll just talk to myself. We need to deeply imbibe two very important considerations. One is Vaishnava Sadachar, etiquette. You need to understand and apply etiquette, Vaishnava etiquette, how we should be behaving with each other. And depending on where we come from, we may require some training, some understanding of the culture, what to speak, what to do, how to sit, stand, everything. Or maybe not, depending on how we are raised or depending on our cultural environment. But still, regardless, all of us need to know this. We need to learn it. So Vaishnava Sadachar etiquette. We have to make sure we are not at fault. If we're following the etiquette properly, we've understood it properly, we need to clear that part out first. We do our best to make sure that any situation that arises, we've done our best to make sure that we are not the cause of the pain. And then the second consideration is the proper level of association and engagement. Recognizing the level of our fellow Vaishnavas and applying the correct etiquette and behaving accordingly. So that's the other one. We have to recognize who is who. Sanatana Goswami says, since nothing can be successful without sadachar or etiquette, every action should be performed with proper etiquette. The heart of a saintly person is free from contamination. And the way a saintly person acts, that is known as proper etiquette, and you know a person by their actions. That is known as sadachar. On the second point about the level of association, Rup Goswami outlines the nectar of instruction. And nectar of instruction is a small book, only like 11 verses, but he's packed the most essential things for devotees. It's a nectar of instruction. These are instructions that are straight to the point. It says, Krishneti yasya gritam manasadriyeta. Dikshasi chet pranati bhisha bhajantamisham. Shushrusaya bhajana vigyam ananya manya. Nindadi shunya hridam ipsita sangaladhya. There are three categories of devotees. You should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer obeisances, humble obeisances, a devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is worshipping the deity nicely. And the third one, the first class devotee, one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So these three categories, Prabhupada explained in the purport, are Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. The Kanishta is a neophyte who has received Harinam initiation and is trying to chant the name of Krishna. We should respect the person within his mind as Kanishta Vaishnava, because of Vaishnava. The Madhyama has received the second spiritual initiation and is fully engaged in transcendental service of the Lord. Now the Madhyama, the distinction is that the Madhyama knows how to behave nicely, whereas Kanishta may not always behave properly. Sometimes they behave very badly because they're not quite there yet, and that's fine. That's just the process. And then the Uttama is one who really knows how to behave perfectly and who's serving the Lord all the time, and he's just absorbed in spreading the Lord's glories all over the world. That person we serve, we get as much association as possible from them. And the person who's madhyama, we want to be friends with them because they're also progressive. They're trying very hard to get better. They also know how to behave very nicely with others. So what do we do with the Kanishta? We still offer respect, but from a distance with the mind. So even this, we may say, who am I to judge? We are told if we don't carefully distinguish this, we will not make progress. It could be detrimental to us, and we can find ourselves in very confusing situations. I mean, we say I'm not judgmental, but we do make judgments all the time. Just think about it. You've taken your plate of prasadam, and there's many, many circles of devotees. And you decide, you make a choice, okay, I'm going to sit with that circle, that circle. Even that's a judgment call. You're the choice. Similarly, we have a choice how much we engage with devotee. We don't engage with all devotees equally. It's just natural because we make choices. We may realize it, we may not realize it. So if our etiquette is perfect, means we offer respect properly to everybody, and we engage to the depth based on the qualifications and based on the evident behavior of devotees, then we can maximize our association. And remember, even the lowest grade behavior from our part is respect from a distance. There's absolutely no scope for disrespectful behavior in any of these. See? So we want to imbibe these. Another cause of fear we may have is when we lose something very valuable. So that was a fear of fear based on identifying with the body, fear based on not applying proper etiquette and proper understanding of inter-devotee relationships. And then another fear we may have is we lose something. For example, we may lose our ability to do certain services. We may grow old, we may grow sick, we may lose our skills, we may become obsolete, I may get hurt, or for some whatever reason I have to move out, or I am moved out. This can be very disturbing. I was reading a very nice reflection written by Satyananda Maharaj, where he is saying that even Arjuna's power and energy was given to him by Krishna, and it was taken away by Krishna when he didn't require them anymore. Arjuna, who could defeat anybody in the world, was defeated by ordinary coward men who were not even trained fighters. He was defeated. So similarly, everything that we are able to do at a particular given time is given to us by Krishna. Krishna says, I am the ability in man, the skill in everyone. So Krishna may withdraw a skill we were given. He may withdraw a position we were given. Maybe, like Maharaj said, I should dance and sing for hours. I can't do that anymore. I get out of breath. Certain ability was given to me, now it's given to other younger devotees. So Krishna gives the skills, he takes them away. It's a time factor. And Krishna says, I am the time factor. Now, for a materialist, this is very disturbing. Losing one's skills is the worst nightmare for a materialist. It is traumatizing. How do we respond when we see that a service we used to do is done by somebody else? And perhaps they're doing even better than the way when I did it. Is this causing me distress? Should it? But we reflect on this point that Arjuna had powers that are astonishing even to the demigods, but they are not meant for going back home, back to Godhead. These are not the things that are taking us back to Godhead. All our abilities are given to us by Krishna, not our ability to sing, our ability to manage, to distribute books, collect a lot of money, to cook brilliant, whatever it may be. Someone may be very intelligent, someone may be very austere, some may be self-controlled, but these skills may be taken away. These abilities are not the basis for going back to Godhead. What takes us back to Godhead is the love we have developed, not our position. What brings us to Krishna are the things that cannot be taken away. Krishna may take your health, he may take your ability to remember verses even, or new names, but he'll never take your ability to remember him, to chant, you can reach, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the most important things, to connect with him. That's what the Lord is protecting, you see, when he says that I take this vow to protect you, to keep you secure. He keeps that secure. He keeps the security of our connection with him, which is based on love, the affection that we've developed. And he gives us that understanding the more we make an endeavor to build on that affection. Remember Hanuman? Hanuman did so much during the Ramayana. He rescued Sita and he burnt down the whole Lanka, and he would keep the Lord on his shoulder, and the Lord fought. It's a huge service. He was the biggest hero in the Ramayana. But Hanuman came back again in the story of Mahabharata with the Krishna Leela. What did he do? His only service at that time was his sitting on Arjuna's flag. He was just a symbol. But even there, he would sit on the flag and roar. He supplied the soundtrack of the war. Was Hanuman disturbed? Oh my God, it's so much now all I can do is sitting on a little flag? No. He sat on the flag and roared with ecstasy, because what makes a devotee victorious is not the externals, but the internal connection with the Lord, the ability to serve no matter what. And service means you remember the Lord with great affection, regardless of where we are externally. So when we overcome all these different fears, that, my dear devotees, is victory. That is Vijaya. That is the Vijaya of the Lord, because his vrata is maintained. And that's our victory as little souls trying to reconnect with the Lord. And often we get it all wrong. We prioritize our looks, our achievements, our positions, our possessions, our reputation. And Krishna may fulfill these human needs as, he may. But we have to remember, these are not essential in our main mission in life, which is to wake up from the dream of this material existence and go back home, back to Godhead. Once we wake up, then the various ups and downs of the dream are utterly irrelevant, inconsequential. And most of the time we forget the whole dream altogether. Why do we put so much effort in it? Whatever we have, let's use it, even if it's a dream of sorts. Let's leverage our situation and turn to the Lord and say, my Lord, from this point on, I'm yours, you are mine. Please accept me. That is our victory. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
What a wonderful class. Your favorite line, Madana-gopāla Prabhu, amongst our circles, in our circles, is, Krishna, I'm yours. All the devotees are quoting that line that you just made. Krishna, from that point on, I'm in the dream. I may be irrelevant. My abilities leave in me, but I'm yours. What a wonderful class. So much hope, so much encouragement. Wonderful. Thank you. Time to reflect, dear devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam it's a conversation between Madana-gopāla Prabhu and our audience. So please. Should I start calling you out? I'm going to call out Bhima's horse.
Howdy, Bull. Let's see what he has to say. Howdy, Bull, Prabhu. Very nice
Hare,
class.
Hare.
Can I be heard?
Yes, I can hear you, Prabhu.
I just wanted to say that, we have this, you mentioned, wonderful class and just so sweet, always sweet. I always, actually, myself, I feel like maybe in my next life or a couple lifetimes from now, I'll be just like you, and I'll be a happy Vaishnav, very, very confident in Krishna's ability to assimilate me into his service. I was thinking about what you were saying about the Vaishnav etiquette, the how to relate to other devotees. And I've come to understand that instead of viewing someone as less advanced, as advanced as I am, which is, needless to say, less, and then someone who is most advanced, which is always tough because you never know, who you're dealing with at any time. You don't know what other past lifetimes. I've seen so many bhaktas come into this movement. I would be here for 20, 30 years, and yet they come in, they're here 2 years, and they're already, whizzing fixed up, even more so than I ever am. But one thing I've come to understand what the symptoms of that level is that the ones who are let us say less advanced tend to be troubled, tend to be suffering. They always have questions. They always have doubts. And there's always something going on that they're suffering about. And then that the people that are on let us just say the same level, they are people who can immediately relate. Like all of a sudden, there's just this immediate friendship, this eye to eye. And then the people who are most advanced are those who are happiest, who are not so troubled, who are not provoked, and who so it's basically you want to jump in their game. You want to be part of however they are relating to this world around them, because they're not doubting. And I just wanted to say, you just mentioned that because instead of viewing somebody advanced or less advanced or something, but whether someone is in pain and suffering, whether someone is relatable, and then of course the devotee who is always jolly, as Prabhupada said. So I just wanted to mention that's how I like to view devotees, the ones that are steady and happy and content in their relationship with Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That's a very good point to bring up, Bhima Prabhu. Very important. By the way, to recognize the devotees category does require some understanding of how to even go about it. It's not that simple, but we do get an intuitive sense based on, like, someone who's suffering a lot, they tend to lash out. And we say, oh, this person is very tough or difficult to be with, like you mentioned, but sometimes that person is the one who needs the most attention, affection, and care, so depending on our level of maturity, we can provide that. If someone is trapped, if a creature is trapped in a bear trap in the forest, and then you try to help them out through the bear trap, that creature may even scratch your face. They don't realize you're trying to help. So it's not easy to do. These kind of things are difficult. And it is not for everybody, by the way, to do it. Only those who know who have some level of expertise should even try to do that. Otherwise, they could really get hurt. So it can get very complicated. But the nectar of devotion highlights certain things that cannot be imitated. Someone can imitate being an advanced devotee in certain ways, but the nectar of devotion highlights things that are very hard to imitate. They identify 9 things that are difficult to imitate. For example, avyartha kalatam. They never waste time in anything. If you see a devotee is not wasting even a moment to do anything, then that devotee is fairly advanced. You can't imitate that. You can only imitate that for a day or two. You can't do the day in, day out. It's not going to happen. Shanti, perseverance. Yes.
Madana-gopāla Prabhu, can you give us an example of a contemporary Vaishnava who embodies this quality of not wasting time?
Yes. It brings to mind, is quite a few visible to us in our movement. Those devotees who are constantly traveling, and their disciples or their other devotees supporting them. And we see that all they're doing day in, day out is just preaching, chanting very deeply, and constantly meditating. Like, for example, I know Vaisheshika Prabhu does that. There's not even 1 minute where he wastes, There's so many other gurus in our movement who do that. And even some devotees who work in the world. I know some devotees who work in the world, and they're not gurus or anything. They go out and do a job, but even at the work, they're constantly thinking, because you can see how much productive they are. There's no way a person can put out so much, productivity in terms of giving ideas, putting together, programs, and, doing so many things for the Lord. It's not possible to accomplish so much if you have time to waste, and stuff like that. So that's just one of the 9 qualities. So similarly, is Virakti, you can see they're actually quite detached. from sense gratification. And then the way they look, they behave and talk, it's very soft and mellow and gentle. They're prideless. They have maintained hope, asha, but they're always eager, very intensely. You can feel their eagerness when the curtains open. You can feel the eagerness to help other devotees. So like that, there's 9 qualities, if you look at them, the 9 symptoms, which can't be imitated, at least not for a sustained amount of time. So then, this is the right person. I really want to let some of that rub off on me from her or from him, So we almost time, right? I guess we can keep going until the curtain. Okay.
I was curious about the qualities of those who are less than the pure devotee. Maybe there is a list, maybe not. In any case, it's darshan time, dear devotees. Yeah, this was the class, dear devotees. Thank you, Madana-gopāla.